questions. That's family law stuff. How about contractual stuff? That you might be involved with. What about wills or estates or trusts? What about car accidents, dog bites, medical malpractice cases? Anything and everything. We take on all comers, and we always have for well over 30 years. So if you have a legal question or problem, all you have to do is pick up the phone, give us a call, 330-729-9977, 330-729-9977. I have two lines in Youngstown open. If you have a legal comment or question, 330-729-9977, 330-729-9977. I have a couple lines open there. We'll take your calls till 6 o'clock tonight. All right, let's go to the law firm Beatrice Kopp and see if anymore he's just Mr. Social Media anymore. I mean, he's just he's a senior citizen, but he's just real active in social media. Is the kingmaker there, Attorney David Beatrice?
I am. Good to see you, Ron.
Good to see you, David. And who joins you at the big table tonight?
At the big table to me is Mr. 32-inch waist himself, Mark DeVecchio, and Jim Melfi. Frank is in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And who else joins us? That's just usually it, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, every now and then,
Brian
we
will
have
be
a
here
special
occasionally.
guest appearance by Brian.
Yeah.
But we don't have the show the next 2 weeks, right?
That's right. That's right. But so this is it,
Till the new year.
We get
Well,
the
let's make
holidays.
this one count.
Well, let's make this a Feliz Navidad show.
That's right.
We got to go out. We got to go out with a bang.
Absolutely. And tell me about what's going on social media. I know you had a lot of followers on your. You were doing a lot of stuff about Luigi's.
Yeah, I mean, I can't keep up with all the comments. I mean, what's amazing to me, I got to tell you, is how much of the public is on Luigi's side. It's just mind blowing.
Well, what last time in the program you said at that point in time we probably had a pretty good case because DNA would be a determining factor. Has any of that changed? Any new details on that case?
What's new about it is the federal government is now charged in, which I find a little bit of piling on. And first of all, the federal government can make a federal case out of anything. I had a guy rob a convenience store, and because the federal government wanted him, they made it a federal case because some of the goods in the store that he robbed came from interstate commerce, and that was enough to make it federal jurisdiction. So if the federal government wanted to, they could indict almost any kind of case, but they're very picky on the cases they indict. And they have picked up Luigi Mangione's case.
Why do you think they did that?
Well, I think the public is more on the side of Luigi. I hate to say that because vigilante justice is something we should never stand for in this country. And so I think that people...
well, some of the public is. I don't think the majority of people are.
I
don't think the majority of people support it.
I happen to think you're wrong, Ron.
Especially the 19 to 30-year-olds. There are more people that refuse to not condone it, but
they're turning a blind eye.
Yeah, they're not.
I'm telling you, Ron. You look at the polls. Look. We cannot have vigilante justice. That leads to anarchy. And that's why I think the federal government indicted it. I think they see this sort of tidal wave of people are mad at insurance companies, mad at healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want to tamp this down. They don't want to put CEOs at risk. We are a capitalistic society. Companies have to make money in a capitalistic society. I think what people are upset about primarily is, should we subject our healthcare system to capitalism? In other words, should healthcare be a for-profit business? And so for healthcare to be a for-profit business, they have to take in more money than they pay out. And so, of course, they're going to deny claims. Of course, they're going to slow play claims. And that's just the model we've chosen. Okay, the model we have chosen is our healthcare is a for-profit business. And when you have a for-profit business's goal is to make money for their shareholders. That's what the goal of capitalism is. It's what made this country great. And so the question I think America is facing right now is should our healthcare system be based on a capitalistic model? Or should we not base it on a capitalistic model? Should we have more guardrails up? Should we limit the amount of profit a health insurance company can make on claims and stuff? So I think this is the discussion that's been sort of foisted upon us.
Mm. Well, the old arguments. I mean, everybody pays into insurance, and the vast majority of people don't use it. And this segment that does, it will be taken care of, and the insurance company still makes money. I mean, isn't that capitalism? It isn't always about denying claims. I mean,
well, except there's a lot of
more
people
than
out
others.
there, Bron, that would tend to disagree with you. That
Well, I agree with that. There's a lot of people who think they're owed everything and they don't have any personal responsibility.
Look, Ron. Look, if you think that our healthcare system is efficient, is good, I do. I don't. I disagree with you.
Well, I do. I can go up to, if I have a major heart problem, I can go to the Cleveland Clinic, one of the most renowned places around, and I can go up there, and I don't have any problem with that. It's covered by my private sector health insurance.
Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe they.
No, it is.
You got good insurance then. Not everyone has good insurance. Some people have to get pre-approved. So they make people jump through hoops. Believe me, I fight with insurance companies all the time, Ron. All the time on this. I know you want to think they're very malevolent, but they're not. Okay, and I don't blame them. Their goal is to make money for their shareholders. That's the goal of a for-profit business in this country. And all I'm saying is...
Well, let me put it this way. I would not want to go to Canada where you got these long waits and lines, and it's a nightmare. I've talked to too many Canadians over there. And it's.
Are you on Medicare, Ron, or are you still on private health insurance?
No, I'm on private health insurance.
Yeah. Okay, well.
That's that is a good thing.
Right.
I mean, I haven't had any... to a certain extent, I think you got to keep yourself healthy. I mean, we do have a problem with obese people. And did you see all these people are taking this? What is that, Dave? The shot. Yeah, and if healthcare starts approving that, it would bankrupt everyone. They're talking about how that would devastate Medicare if we start just prescribing that for people for weight loss. I mean, it'd be just so much money
involved.
Well, just
think of the problems that come from us being obese. And we got to ask ourselves, we are much heavier now than we were in the 1960s. So why is that, Ron?
A pizza, Dave. One word, pizza.
No, it's not pizza. It's processed food. It's big agriculture. It's laziness.
It's not
laziness, Ron.
Yes, it is. No,
I don't think people are any lazier today.
Oh, no. Look at all the weight you lost. Look at all the weight you lost from the hard exercise that you did.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Is that COVID again? Have you been at the prison?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, was that just COVID you exposed to Mark DeVecchio to or Melfi to? Because, you always have COVID.
He just has a cough. Yeah. Famous last words.
Just a cough.
He has a perpetual cough.
He's always spreading COVID because he goes to the prison and he brings it back to you guys just in time for the holidays.
Ron, do you know that Americans are we're one of the least healthiest nations in the world? Why is that?
Well, exercise some more.
Oh, really? You think it's not enough exercise? Could it possibly be, Ron, the processed foods that we're fed?
Well, sure it is. Then don't eat them. Nobody forces you to.
Oh, okay. No one forces us to, except
that's right.
Except they're advertised like crazy.
Well, that doesn't mean you have to do it.
It's very hard in inner cities to find help. Ron, this is a trick. You could deny it all you want. It is very hard in inner cities. They're food deserts. You know what they have? They have processed foods. That's what they're eating. That's what leads to diabetes. We are the #1 country in diabetic and type 2 diabetes. That's from overweight.
There are some areas, some neighborhoods that don't have grocery stores, but they have that dollar store.
Right.
And if you've ever been in their dollar store, they have a food section. All they have are processed food,
That's
TV dinners, Chef Boyardee, frozen burritos. So,
don't criticize Chef Boyardee.
Our country is
don't
#1.
No,
okay.
I've been known
you grew up on some beefaroni.
That's such an insult to my culture.
I've been known at times
Beefaroni,
No,
beef
no, no,
ravioli,
go get the ravioli.
beef ravioli.
At 9 o'clock at night. I've got a hankering, and I've gone to the corner grocery store and gotten beef ravioli.
That's
from Chef
nauseating.
Well,
Boyardee.
You know, our country is #1 in cost for healthcare, but our life expectancy is like 50th or something like
Yeah.
that.
Because we're stressed out, Mark. We're
Oh, is that
hardworking
it? It's
people. We're
stressed out.
Oh, Dave,
Well, no,
I'm on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
There is some merit to what Ron just said. It's different in Italy. There is not as much stress. They don't live to work. They live to live.
Right.
We live to work. So it's different.
Because our system is based on capitalism.
Right.
Capitalism is work as hard, make as much money as you can. And that's why we're the leading economic power of the world. There's some good things that come with that. Okay?
Right.
Like
the
big
ba-
boats. Like big boats.
What's wrong with big boats? but there's some downside to that. You have to have some balance.
Like broken dinghies.
Like, Ron, if one more person
Don't encourage him, Ron. Please don't encourage
no,
him.
because do you
Please.
know how many people come up to me and ask me if my dinghy to this day is fixed?
Right.
Because of
Well,
Ron.
is it?
And they don't
How is your
believe you.
dinghy?
I
And they
bought a
ask
new
to
dinghy.
see it.
All
And
right.
Jimmy,
So you had-
if Jimmy ever settles my lawsuit, ever,
Right.
His just like his cough, his digging is perpetually deflated.
Right.
do we have any
Unfortunately-
calls we could take, Ron?
Yes, we do, but we're having too much fun before we take
I
the
understand we're
calls.
having too much fun.
So, isn't it interesting, Mark, when we start talking about his broken dinghy, he wants to go to the phone lines.
No,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I get aggravated
Deflect.
at Jimmy. 'Cause
right.
I
he
gave Jimmy the
deflects.
dinghy case.
Jimmy is doing
Jimmy,
a great job.
No,
all right?
Jimmy's not.
Yes, he is.
No,
quite
basically
frankly, I
he's
think
not.
he is.
I'm the advisor
I
to
think-
the unadvisable, Ron. Okay.
You're right.
You're
I
the
think Jimmy
advisor
is-
to the unadvisable.
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
let's take some calls.
All right. First, hello, Jim. Welcome back to
Thanks,
the
Ron.
program. Good to hear you.
He was in Florida. You were in Florida last week?
Last 2 weeks.
Last 2 weeks. Every one of us
Beautiful.
has to go do the gulag section. That's where we get in the car with Brian. We call it the hostage car.
Mhm.
Because Brian actually works from his car. But when he's working, you're not allowed to talk on your phone. You're not allowed to do anything. You have to sit there like a hostage. Like one of those hostage videos. You ever see where they torture the Americans?
Yeah.
And then the American gets on and says, America's bad. When you're with Brian in a car, it's like you're doing a hostage video. That's what it's like.
Mhm.
Frank and Daniel from our officer down there, they're hostages right now.
Well, what they're learning is excellence because Brian Kopp is an excellent attorney.
Yes, he
And if
is.
they're quiet and they observe, they will learn how to be an excellent attorney
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And so, and that's what they learn. Let's take some calls, Dave. Are you prepared?
Are you prepared?
Yes. I mean, it's the holiday time, and Attorney Beatrice is with us, and Jim Melfi's with us, and Attorney DeVecchio. What a great program. You're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, we'll start off with an easy question for the greatest team of attorneys in the entire world.
That is
The
correct.
question is this: is it legal for someone who holds a current Ohio concealed carry permit to buy, not to use, but to buy recreational marijuana in Ohio?
Why would you want to buy it and not use it, though? My question.
No, wait a minute.
Well,
There's
answer the legal.
No, there
You
is
can't
a-
pick,
first,
you
then
can't
I'll explain
possess
that
it
to
and
you.
have a gun. You can't possess marijuana and a gun at the same time. So if you're in your car, you get pulled over, you have a gun and you have marijuana, I think you'll probably get charged.
yes, I think that's
So
true.
I would say that if you
but
I don't know that there's a restriction against buying it so long as you don't have them at the same time or
But
you
I'd have
don't
to
use
check
them.
this. Do you have a CCW permit?
yes,
Yeah, there's some quirk in the law that if you have a CCW permit, I'm pretty sure, Mark, you cannot purchase marijuana. But now that marijuana is legal, how would they know you're purchasing it?
that's the question. If I go to a dispensary, since it's legal in Ohio, I don't have my gun with me. I'm not going to be using it. All I want to do is purchase it. Am I breaking the law?
I don't think you are. I don't think you are.
Very
but they
interesting
do take
question,
down.
though.
But when you buy, not because I know this from
I mean, I guess it's technically illegal.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to clean that law up. But
Technically
see,
illegal?
Yes.
yeah, when you have so in Ohio, you don't need a CCW permit anymore.
Right.
Correct.
So you could let your CCW permit lapse, right?
Yes.
Because you have to renew it every 5 years or something.
Yes, that's correct.
So you could let it lapse. I know when you go into a dispensary, now, I only know this from friends, that they do take down a lot of personal information.
You have to give your license.
Yeah, you have to give your license. Yeah, I have a friend told me that.
Yeah, and what I'm wondering is, I haven't done this yet, but just as law enforcement might have on their computer screen, if you get pulled over, an indication that the owner of this vehicle has a CCW permit, are these dispensaries going to get a red flag that pops up when you go in to buy it that says, "Oh, this," once they run the
I don't
driver's
think
license,
I've
this person
not
has
I've not
CCW.
heard that, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they would have access to that database that the cops
No.
have anyway. Caller. So you're saying, I just want to make sure you want to buy it, but you're not going to use it. Is that a correct statement you're making?
That is a correct statement. I'm also thinking of people who, when they first got their CCW, maybe weren't using, and now they're considering, since it's recreational, they want to use. They'll keep their gun and their use of marijuana completely separate, just like with alcohol. But the concern is, when you go to buy it without your gun, the fact that you have the CCW, is that breaking the law?
Well, I mean, here's it depends on whether you put the cart before the horse. If you apply for a medical marijuana card before you, well, no, the permit's
just
gone.
recreational
That's right.
marijuana.
There's no, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't
you
need
just-
a medical marijuana
Right.
card anymore.
Yeah,
You can
right.
now buy, but there's a difference, I think, in the THC content from medical marijuana. Are you saying no, Leo?
No, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
I wonder about a guy like this. So he wants to buy it, but he doesn't want to use it. You know, what's he going to get next?
Ron,
Ladies' panties? Is he
Ron,
going to buy
Ron,
ladies'
Ron,
panties? He
you-
wants to buy them, but not
Ron,
use them.
it's just
I'm
like when I
worried about
said
this
I was
guy.
buying it for a friend. Okay.
I got you. All right. Thank you, caller. All right. I don't want to know anymore. You're on the air. Hello.
Glasses and windows out the door.
There's
get out of
one.
here.
There we go, Ron. You let another one through.
I know,
Another
you're on the air.
escapee, Ron.
Slip past the
Good
goalie.
afternoon, or good evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Gentlemen, could you comment on the status of the non-compete ban?
Well, so far it's upheld, but with the new administration coming in and some of the new Supreme Court rulings, that might be struck down. So the Federal Trade Commission has ruled you can't have non-competes, but I don't think the Supreme Court has ruled on that yet. If I had to make a guess, the current Supreme Court would probably uphold non-competes. I don't like them. I think they're overused. For certain areas, I think they're good, but for the most part, it really prevents people from being able to be able to work. And so, there's always a tug and pull with those. All right. And so there's ways you could do a non-compete, but not call it a non-compete. Like, you can't take a client list with you. The courts are going to say you're okay with that. But to not be able to go work at another job in a similar area.
Yeah, it's duration and proximity to where you're employed.
Yeah.
And then the other problem is they want to retroactively apply it.
It was
The current
supposed to be
non-competes, yeah.
it was supposed to take place in September, right? Or some
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was the Federal Trade Commission.
FTC came out with it.
Yeah, and so, but then
but
after
it was
that,
blocked by the federal court, right?
I don't. Did they block it?
Yes, they blocked
They
it.
blocked it.
It was blocked by the
Yeah,
federal
I mean,
court.
any employment contracts I do for any business clients,
And it was
Don't
supposed to go
include
into
them
effect
anymore.
in September, but it was blocked by the federal court, so it's still kind of up in the air.
It's still kind of up in the air.
So you can't enforce the ban. The FTC cannot enforce the ban
That's correct.
currently.
And I think the FTC and that regulation will be taken away. Look, in certain areas, it was good to have a non-compete, but they used it for barbers and beauticians,
Right.
And I mean, lawn cutting services,
tattoo
window
artists. Yeah.
washers, and
Yeah,
tattoo
to
artists.
monopolize
Yeah,
an industry and
yeah,
to keep you
so-
from getting a job.
So it certainly is antithetical to a free market capitalistic system.
I agree.
Ron, I think David read Webster's before tonight's
I did not
show.
read Webster's.
I was
I'm
hoping
that
maybe-
adept, and
I
I'm
was-
that, and I have that much depth in my use
Right.
of the vocabulary, Jim. And when you hit 30, Jim, maybe you'll be half of what I am.
31.
Well, maybe when you
Right.
hit 40, then.
I don't know what he said either, Jim, but you know, we're just kind of
I
roll
know.
with the punches.
Do you know
Ali?
Ali Kopp DeCobo is here? Now, Ali Kopp is our social media director.
Is she related to Brian Kopp?
Happens to be his daughter.
Well, Brian has what, 20 daughters, does he not? Or something like that?
25 daughters.
I thought he did, yes.
Yeah,
He's-
it's 7 daughters. I
7
told-
brides for 7 brothers.
7 brides. And I told him after 3, I said, Brian, stop. He didn't. Then he had a set of twins.
Mhm.
And then he had 3. And then he had a set of twins.
5.
That was 5. And then he had 2 more after that.
Right.
wouldn't stop.
And,
He
and
kept trying to
finally
have
got-
the man.
And finally he got cable TV, and thank God.
No,
he had another hobby.
No, what he realized is you have to be a man to make a man, and he couldn't make a man. So there's nothing I could do about that. Do we have any more calls, Ron? I don't want to. Brian's not here to defend
Yeah,
himself.
nothing like firing shots at someone that's not.
Well,
there.
And you know what, boy, that sure does make Rose feel special, David, when you say something like that. That's disgusting
What?
to say. You have a beautiful daughter yourself.
I have a beautiful daughter and 2 boys. Let's not forget.
Right.
And here,
But
you want to know
have
the
a-
amazing thing, Ron?
Yes.
Between Brian's brood of children, which are 7 daughters, and my 3 children, do you think one of them became a lawyer? Not one of them. I mean, what are the chances of that? 10 children and none of them want to be lawyers. I think they're all smart. I was
Yeah.
like telling my kids, you don't want to do this for a living.
No.
He's back in rare form tonight. Attorney David Beatrice and company back in a minute.
All right.
My friends, this is Dan Rivers. It's time to celebrate the holiday.
Ready
found
for
a
some
case
more?
that gives-
All right.
We're
so
ready.
Apparently.
Standing.
All right. Here you go. With our attorneys, you're on the air. Hello, caller.
We're back.
Good evening.
Yes. Go ahead.
2 weeks ago, when I was listening to the show, the subject of damage to a water line in a lawn came up. And I was curious. I've been reading lately about Comcast coming into several communities, Austintown, Boardman, Poland. And my question is, well, severalfold. Number one, I assume I have no choice but to let them on my property and let them dig. Number two, what happens if they damage something, if they cut a water
Well,
line?
number
gas
one,
line?
number one assumption is incorrect unless they have an easement. Okay. They are not allowed, no one's allowed on your property to dig unless there's an easement for that utility. Okay.
Can you explain that?
Some
Do I
company
have
just
to-
can't
is
come
that-
in and
is an
say,
easement
oh, well,
something I
we're going to
apply
dig up
for,
your yard
or is it
because
something they-
we need to run our lines there. They either have to get an easement or permission from you to do that. That's called trespassing on your land.
Armstrong Cable had a bunch of people in my yard the other day planting flags.
Okay, but they probably have an easement.
Yeah.
Okay, but an easement isn't something I have any control over.
An easement is just allowing someone to have the right to use your property, not possess it. So many utility companies have easements. Okay. And if you sign
I'm
up
assuming-
for Armstrong,
You giving them an
you're
easement.
giving them sort of an easement to come on. So if at some point you said, hey, I want cable, well, at some point you gave them permission. I don't know if it was an easement, it might have been a license, but no utility can just come onto your land and dig up. Most of them have easements to do that. You'd be surprised if you got your deed, the easements that are attached to your property.
So, yeah, well, I've obviously never given Comcast any sort of easement to, but I'm in the same position as the attorney who just spoke. They're putting flags on my property. And I've read some articles about in Poland, they've done some digging, obviously, to lay the line. They have to. And I would think they'd have to go across every property. I can't imagine they could
They're digging in Boardman
lay
too.
the cable into my neighbor's property, skip over
don't
mine,
know
and
how they
continue
just
laying
do
the
that.
cable.
And
Well, they probably got it. They probably isn't that first section, where your sidewalk is if you live in a city or frankly, if you
they
live
do
anywhere.
have,
there's-
there is some laws out there, the first 5 feet or something can
Well,
be used
right.
for utilities or certain things.
Well, I don't think it's. I can tell you, there's big diggers in people's yards just digging up their entire yard, and my neighborhood
It's-
doesn't have a sidewalk.
Okay,
No,
but that's for that is for
I think
water lines, and stuff
utilities.
like that. Utilities, yeah.
Armstrong was there too, though. It's crazy what's
But
going on
Armstrong
right now.
was probably marking where their cables were.
Could be
Could be.
for the utility people, so they don't.
I
have the
would
cables.
call Armstrong and say, "Why are your flags in my yard?" First of all, you
Or-
don't know if
Well,
it's
not
Armstrong
It's
or
potential
East
for-
Ohio
it's
Gas
Comcast.
or
They're
the,
all marked. Those flags are all marked by those companies. So Dave,
no, they don't
Kate.
say this is East Ohio. They just
Yeah,
put-
they do. They do. They very much do.
No,
They say-
mine don't. They're colored, but they have different. They're all in different.
Right.
There's blue,
But-
red,
Yeah, mine are
yellow.
colored with no name on them.
right.
Yes.
Well, mine always have names on them. If it's
Well,
a
that's
gas
because
line.
you're Ron Verb,
right. But I mean, it says
and
right
they know
to-
not
it'll
to
say-
mess with Ron
And it's
Verb.
not so
That's
bad.
right.
It's not so bad now, but in the summer when you wanted to cut grass, I ran over a couple of those flags. So
Yeah.
I mean, why is this bothering you, sir? I mean,
Well, he's saying if they damage your property,
Let me explain.
listen, caller, I'll
I
cut
go
you.
to
I'll cut you
Florida
to the
for
short,
4 months
caller.
a year.
Caller, I'll cut you to the short. If they damage anything on your property, they got to pay for it
or fix it.
or
Okay,
fix it.
that's what I wanted to know.
Absolutely. See, I knew what your question
And
was.
I
I haven't been
and
doing this
I-
show
I
for
will tell
34
you in
years for
Florida, Where
nothing.
Comcast came on a rental property that I have, we had no choice. We had to allow them on.
Basic,
And one of the
based on
problems
what?
that happened was not only cutting some lines, but they put these horrible looking green boxes right in the middle of your lawn, which I guess not every lawn, but many of the lawns.
See,
And
so many
when I
of
read
those
about
green
Comcast
boxes
coming here,
are actually electric boxes.
No, but they have cable boxes like that too, that are like the
no,
poles.
these were cable
Yeah.
boxes.
They're usually they have easements on your property. They have them on everybody's. How are you going to get the water lines, Dave? How are you going to get the electric to people's homes?
Yeah,
How
but
are you gonna get the
cable is
cable to
something
'em?
different than
No, it's-
electric and other things.
But,
I would
but-
ask that. Look, it doesn't. Look, call Comcast. Your people are on my property. Please write to me or give me by what authority they're on my property, marking my yard. I think that's a legitimate
Okay.
question you can ask them.
All right.
Okay,
I mean,
thank you.
There you
thank
go.
I mean, I guarantee you they got a right to be there. I guarantee it.
I guarantee you, maybe not. How about that?
Right. You know, a lot of people think, you know, you have, where is it, from the center of the street back? You'd be surprised how much of your front yard the government actually owns. You mow it and everything.
Not owns, but they have a right to put easements or to
Mhm.
use it for certain things. You are
You ever
right,
look-
Ron. So people have to look at their deeds, but that's not every deed. They didn't
Mhm.
have cable back in the early 70s when they were putting up homes. Okay? They didn't have cable TV then.
Mhm.
So many of these homes were built in the 70s. For Armstrong to just come in and say, oh, well, we're going to dig up your yard to lay our lands, they might not have that right.
Well, they did it. It's been there for years, and I'm glad it is. I enjoy it. I
You
couldn't
still
live
have
my life
cable
without
TV?
cable. Oh,
What
I
do you-
love
What
cable
do you
TV.
still use? What do you still use? Do you use a hand calculator? What do you use? A rotary phone?
Hang on a second. No, I'm
Why
with
do
on
you
that.
have cable TV?
I
A
have
lot
my
of
flip
people have
phone.
cable
I have
TV.
my flip
I
phone.
cut that-
I love cable.
Oh my God, I got
Yeah.
so rid of
YouTube
I have
TV.
I have cable TV.
Why?
I read a newspaper.
I read.
I go to the post
newspaper.
office.
I
I
do-
pay
I got-
my bills. I write out checks.
Oh, you write out
What's wrong with
checks?
that? Yes.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? I
I
do
love
electronic
marketing.
banking.
Yeah.
They
Listen,
not only balance
One day
your
I'm gonna.
checkbook.
It's gonna be proven that my way was the right way.
No, your way is the
no,
dinosaur way.
well,
The
when
dinosaurs went extinct long ago. Here's what my bank
when they
does.
attack the grid,
They're not
you're
going to
in
attack
big
the grid.
trouble.
Okay, really? And your
Amen.
money's in the grid too, my friend. Let me tell you what
my
they
money's
do.
in my backyard.
Yeah, well,
Tell me
That's why I
exactly
worry
where
about
the
them
money
digging
is in
that
the
stuff
house.
up.
Mark, tell me exactly where the money is in the house. You
Yeah.
know, just out
In
of
the freezer.
curiosity. Okay.
in the freezer.
Yes.
Yeah, I put mine in the toilet. If they're brave enough to go in my toilet, God bless them. They gotta have money. Here. Listen, with electronic banking, let me tell you what they do. I put in an amount. They write the check out. They stick it in an envelope and they mail it.
I like to write my own check out.
Why?
I like to go to the ledger sheet in my checkbook and deduct it from the amount that's in my
They
account.
do that automatically.
Yeah, but how do you know what's in your account then? If
Because
you're
they
not
do it
controlling your
automatically. If you have
account,
Look
you
on
look
my
at your
app.
bank account, $100
your
in there.
app, all this relying
It's
on
not
these
an
apps
app. I
someday
use
is
it on
going to
my
be our
computer.
downfall. I'm telling you.
Okay, and if there's a downfall, what do you think is going to happen to your money in the bank? You actually think we have
I'll be
enough
sitting
money
pretty.
in the United States to cover all the money that's in the United States? We do not. It is a fallacy.
I'll
Mark,
Mark, I'll tell you
I'll
this.
last longer than you.
Mark, I'd have
Yes.
enough money if David paid out on his bet he owes me.
Yeah,
No,
David owes us
no,
all
no.
$50.
Yeah.
No, they're just
He's a Welcher.
Watch the
no,
tape.
I'm
He
not
welches.
welching on
You
a
welch.
bet.
A
No,
Welch? Well, tell
Yeah,
me about
we-
it.
no,
made
no,
her-
we're not. Let's
Yeah,
take
we are
it
gonna
all.
no, we are
I-
gonna talk about this.
I
No,
think
we're
we'd
not.
like to see
Yeah, we
this.
are.
So-
No, we're not.
Dave,
I'm
hang on a
right,
second.
and
Did-
they're wrong.
Here's
We-
a caller. Next caller.
David's Frankie
I'd like to know,
Pantangeli.
Yeah.
next
Frankie
caller.
Pantangeli. He's a
Oh,
Welcher.
Frankie Pantangeli. That's nice.
Wait a second.
I welched.
Yeah. I watched.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take a caller. Yeah, it's Joe from Boardman. I want to know about the bet, David.
Yeah, so-
Please,
So we make our weekly football picks on Friday in the office.
And you know what? It's on our. What is it on YouTube? What's what the?
It's on,
it's on YouTube.
It's on
Well,
YouTube.
Check out our YouTube.
Yeah. Pull the tape.
Pull the tape and
He
watch what
said,
he says.
I'm gonna bet each of you $50 that I'm
That
going
I beat
to
you all.
that I'm gonna
I'll beat
beat
you
you
all. 50
And we-
bucks.
and I
he went
tied.
50,
No,
50, 50.
you didn't say
I beat you.
You didn't beat me.
there was
I
not
beat
a
him.
No, you didn't.
You
There was
didn't
not
beat
a
him.
I
qualifier.
beat you.
No,
There
he
was just
I beat you, Jimmy.
You won't
there
let
was
him
no
defend himself.
qualifier that said either push or beat. No, you said I'm going to beat you. So
All,
we
beat
tied.
you all.
Yeah, we beat.
And I'll bet you all $50 that I beat you all.
We
He
both
didn't
went
beat us
6
all.
and 4, and he
We
won't pay
tied
up.
him. Yeah.
He welched.
He didn't tie
I
me.
think he owes
Yeah, he
Frankie
did.
too. I think he owes
No,
Frankie
no.
Cease too.
Frankie owes me $50.
So
No,
let me
you
get
know
this
what?
straight.
Daniel
Yeah.
owes me $50. So get the 50
No,
from them.
and you know,
Hey, you want your $50?
No,
Get it
you
from
owe us
Daniel. No, I'm
50.
not paying
Daniel
you.
was. I
No,
didn't
all
bet
right,
Daniel.
I'll
I
say
didn't bet
this.
Frankie.
Hell will freeze over before
no,
I give
you and Dan pushed, and
Now I
I'll tell you
pushed
this.
with you. I pushed with Mark. I pushed with no.
no, the
I,
only person that you had a better record than was Frank. And I'll tell you this.
no.
Daniel
Frankie and
lost too.
Daniel. So you want your $50? Get it from Frank.
No,
Get it from Daniel.
you know what?
We
You
bet
know
you.
what?
We
let me
did
see
not
if I
have
get
a
it straight.
I'll
tiebreaker.
waive. I'll waive my 50 if Dan doesn't pay you 50, and Mark's gonna waive his 50 if Frank doesn't to pay you. So we align with everybody else other
don't
than
play
you.
with my money. It's playing with my emotion. It's like
But
you're playing with
technically-
Jimmy.
Do we have any calls, Ron?
Yeah,
He
we do.
welched.
Yeah.
we have
So
some
let me get
calls?
this straight. Yeah, we do. Attorney Melfi, I want to make sure I understand this. So you're saying that Dave said he would give you $50 if
If he didn't beat us.
if he didn't beat us.
All.
So
If he didn't beat us
so
all.
right. So let me get this straight.
I beat. I beat
no,
two of them.
I'm sorry. I'm
and
sorry. I'm
tied
talking
two
to
of
Attorney
them.
Melfi. You tied a bunch of people.
didn't-
That's
No, not a
beating
bunch
them.
of people. I tied two of them,
All right.
and I beat two
The,
of them.
the present two that are here.
Yeah.
And Frankie, he was so bad.
right. So you
He
didn't
was
beat them
so in the
all.
base.
He was
Frankie
bad.
being
So-
bad has nothing to bad picks this week has nothing to do with you owing me $50.
I'm not paying
Right. You
your
didn't beat them all.
$50.
Don't
He
deflect.
did not beat them all.
I-
He owes you
I didn't
$50
lose to them all either.
He didn't beat us
He
all.
didn't
The
beat
bet
us.
was he got to beat us all.
We
Yeah,
still-
not push.
I'm gonna have to blame
Frankie
the producer.
Do you ever
Pantangelo.
see Rounders?
Yeah, for
Pay
not
that
having
man
a tiebreaker.
his money.
Because if you should have a tiebreaker, like a game.
No,
to come
you
in
didn't
it was
state
your
a
bet. He
tiebreaker.
didn't make the bet. You did.
Sorry.
Go look at the video. It's
Well, you
posted
shouldn't
on
believe me.
YouTube.
I'm a lawyer.
Look at the
I lie
video.
for a living. Okay, Ron. Do we have
Listen,
any calls we could
John
take?
and Jane Q Public, look at that video. And if I'm right, call me and I'll give you David Beatrice's
Yeah, 'cause
home number.
Tying
and you call
isn't
him.
beating. Yeah, tying is not beating. You know what I mean? Why would anyone want to bet with a guy that
Yeah.
welches?
Yeah,
I
he
don't get
welches.
it. Yeah, let's take some calls. I don't even know.
Why
I'm
should
so
I pay
disgusted by
Frank?
it.
He only picked 2 out of 6.
He went
He
two
was
and
2 and
8.
8.
2 and 8.
2 and
What am I
8.
going to pay Frank $50? I'd
'Cause you
rather
said
be
you beat
shot in
him
my
all.
foot than pay Frank, who went 2 and 8.
You almost lost your foot this summer anyway, so you don't need it.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Go ahead, Ron. Let's take some calls.
You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, you're on the air with Attorney Welch Beatrice and Jimmy and Mark.
Okay, my question is, my father's in a nursing home
Mhm.
and he has a guardian, and I went and seen him and I visited with him, and then the next time I went back, his guardian stopped me from visiting him. Is that legal?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're that's your father?
It's
You
my
could go to
father. His
court.
ex-wife is his guardian.
You
You
can file a motion to remove the guardian.
Yeah, but the guardian technically
Has the authority.
Has-
has the authority. Yeah.
You're gonna have to pay
Well,
attention.
no, it
Doesn't
depends
have
on what the
authority.
it depends on what the guardian papers say.
Well, if it's a guardian of the person
Yeah.
and not of the estate,
Right.
the guardian can prohibit that.
But the guardian has to act in the best interest of the person that they're.
I understand
Right.
that, and maybe the guardian is,
so-
and maybe he isn't.
If the
What I'm
guardian is
saying she
engaging in
should do-
self-serving activity, maybe trying to influence your father and to restrict his access to family members.
Look, here's what I'm saying to you: don't take the law into your own hands. Go to court, file a motion, get someone into that probate court to allow you to see your father.
Why?
Okay.
Hang on a second. Why does the guardian not want you to see your dad?
It's just a family squabble between her and us kids.
Who is
He
the
doesn't
guardian?
like
How's
that.
the guardian related to you or your father?
She's not. She is his ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
Is that your
Ex-wife.
mom?
No.
Ah, there it is.
How did the
That's
gu- how
actually
did he
you're
did,
younger than I am.
did he draft the guardianship when they were married?
No, they got a divorce. My sister had guardian of him, and then she went ahead and gave it to his ex-wife because he
Well,
was
they
living
couldn't
with
have done
her.
that without giving
Yeah,
you
the
notice.
sister
Yeah.
can't. Well, the sister can't give guardianship away
No, they
unless
didn't
he's.
give everyone notice. And if no one went and took it and the ex-wife did it, that's how she got it.
Yeah.
Did they give you notice
Well-
they were switching guardians?
No.
They had to have.
Maybe not.
No.
No, no.
waive
Mark,
notice?
they-
Actually, when all Wait, when all of this went down, they didn't even tell me they were going to court to do guardian.
No,
course-
no, they
of
have
course
to
I
give
was
you
out
due
of town.
process on that. No, I guarantee you. Well, if they didn't, then they cheated. But I would get a lawyer and go take that look at.
You know what? I would go down. Is this Mahone County?
Yes.
Go to the probate court
Look at the file.
and look at the file and give your father's name. Find out if there's a copy of guardianship papers in there. Find out there's probate court's all about forms. So there's going to be notice forms. There's going to be waiver forms.
You could have signed a
Go take
waiver
a
and not
look
even
at what's
realize
in the
you signed a
file.
waiver form.
Oh, I never signed any paperwork whatsoever.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. You are your father's blood relative,
Child.
Yeah.
child. Okay, well, blood
Direct.
relative.
Yeah.
Okay.
Direct beneficiary.
Another daughter had guardianship and said, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm going to go to the probate court and give it to his ex-wife and not notify any of the other blood relatives. There's no way that happened.
Well, there's a
It did
way it
happen.
happened, but it's not legal the way it could be challenged. You have to if they
I'm
did they
telling
serve
you,
you any
they-
paperwork?
They
Because if
served
you
her
served, if they
paperwork
were
or she
served and you
she
didn't
signed a
go,
waiver. If she was sent a paper and didn't go, but due process
do yourself a
requires
favor.
her-
Go pull
I
that
was
file.
never sent nothing. I was never sent nothing, and my name was never on any of the paper.
Or after the holidays, if you want to call, I'll meet you in probate court. We'll pull a file and look at it together.
Well, there's an offer you can't refuse.
Wow, I'm not going to refuse that one.
And he's a lead
Right.
singer in a band, and he's
Right,
got a
but-
32.
You can't. It's not an
The use or possession of marijuana remains unlawful under federal law.
under
You are
federal
right.
law.
Under
That's
federal law.
100% correct.
And so, what's the question?
He's reading what it's on.
The question that you guys had was, can you legally purchase a firearm when you have your medical marijuana card
No.
or you're a user of it?
It was backwards.
Whether you buy
No,
it.
no, no, no.
No,
no.
it's,
It
yeah.
you
He
have to
said
be
he already
addicted.
has a car a gun.
Yeah,
He
and you
wants to
have
know if he
be
could buy
an
marijuana.
addict.
That-
You have to be an addicted
When
to a
you,
drug.
when you sign for your medical marijuana card, you sign away your Second Amendment right.
He's
if
not
you
right.
buy,
No,
if
I
you
understand
purchase
that.
marijuana,
That's
even
clear.
though it's legal in the state of Ohio, the federal government does not accept it as a legal narcotic.
Right,
or
you're
illegal
right.
drug.
You are
No,
right.
you're right
The
there.
federal government still considers marijuana a Scheduled I substance. Although,
So you can, if
Listen,
you.
you want to listen, or you want to tell me what the law is? Go ahead, tell me
Well,
what
he's
the
trying
law
to
is.
give you his side of it. So let's hear what he
Well, no,
says.
there was a very famous person that just went to court for that. I think his last name was Biden.
Okay, he was addicted to heroin. There's a difference between,
Okay.
and he was an addict at the time.
But,
And he lied on the
but he
form. They
marked
said,
on that
"Are
form,
you
he marked
addicted?"
No on that box.
Right. They said, "Are
That's
you
what got him in
addicted to
trouble.
heroin?" And he says, "No, I'm not addicted to heroin." That's what he got in trouble for. And I got
Okay,
news for
the
you.
box states, letter E of the 4473, the form you fill out
Yeah.
states. I'm reading it directly from the form.
Okay, what's
Are
it
you
say?
an unlawful user of or addicted to marijuana or any depressant, stimulant, narcotic, or drug or any other controlled substance? Because the federal government considers it still illegal.
Well, if
if
the
you
federal
mark that
government
box
wants to
no.
go out and indict 100,000 people in Ohio for answering
Right.
that question at people across the United States, let them have at it. I don't think they're going to be
There
enforcing that law.
There are actually people that have been charged with it.
All right.
I'd love to challenge that law.
Thank you for your call. You're on the air with our attorneys. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. So I think when you're talking about Comcast and all that, you're forgetting about the fact that I believe most of the work they're doing is within the right of way. So if they're in the right of way and they have permission from the people that have the right of way, then they're going to put that.
The caller is right. So many feet of your property is given to a right of way to the municipality or whatever. But not every
If I may interrupt,
municipality.
Bet Welcher.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
he called
you.
me a welcher.
That's right.
He welched.
System. So I'm with that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the call
But
of the
not
night.
Frankie
every
Pantangeli. He
municipality
welched.
has that right of way.
Right.
Not every.
And is it 5 feet? Because I know it's more than
not
5 feet.
everyone has that 5 feet. Not
I'm
everyone
saying, but
has
if,
it.
Well, who
if you
doesn't have
drive
it?
down my neighborhood, you will see flags that are deeper than 5 feet into yards.
Right.
Well, it might be long. I think it's long.
All I'm
more
saying
than 5
is
feet, actually.
people
I'll
should
have to
go
look
look
that
at
up.
their deeds
Mhm.
and see how much of the property the government has use of. And I don't think it's as wholesale as you're saying, Mark.
Right. But then again, you owe Mark money. So
That's right.
I'm not paying Mark.
He's on the
I'm
pay
not
no
paying-
mind
I'm
list
not-
until I
you're
get
not
my
gonna-
50.
Yeah.
right.
You're not
exactly.
getting your 50.
He thinks his case is going to get resolved. I need my 50 first.
You want your
Right.
50, get it from Daniel. You want your 50,
didn't
get it
bet
from
Daniel.
Frank. Because Frank,
I bet David
Frank
Welcher
couldn't pick his
Beatrice.
nose
You're
last
right.
week.
The
properly.
Welch man.
Yeah. What,
The
you
Welch
make
man.
grape juice?
Do we have any
Welch's?
more? Do we have any more calls, Ron?
For the Welcher,
Grape
more
jelly?
calls
Yeah.
for-
He's wearing a
more calls
purple
for the
suit too.
Welch's
Welch's
sparkling soda.
Grape
We
jelly.
have more calls. Attorney Melfi's with us
a little
tonight.
bit like
Attorney
Barney.
DeVecchio's with us tonight.
That's my
And
hair.
Attorney Welcher.
Thank
Ron,
you.
yeah, hello. Yes, go ahead.
I had a question about a four-wheeler that I purchased.
Yes.
Yeah.
I bought it off of a private seller in August, and they signed the title over to me unnotarized. I took the title to the BMV to have it notarized back into my name, and they're telling me that I can't do it. So I've contacted the seller. I've asked them if there's anything they can do to help, and they're pretty much refusing to help me.
Well, I mean, actually, if you paid him for something that he could transfer to you.
Yeah.
When he gave you the title, if it's not notarized, what the notary does is notarizing the signature, saying that the signature on the paper,
Mhm.
I watched the person sign, and I could confirm that the
Why
person
won't
that
he
signed
go to
it-
a notary and say that's my signature?
So they told me that it was already signed, so he was unable to do it again.
He doesn't have to re-sign it again.
Just
He
go to a
just
notary and say, that's
I
my
signed it.
signature.
That's my
Yeah,
signature.
go to a bank. Yeah, they'll notarize it.
All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
for everyone out there, if it says it needs to be notarized, get it notarized.
You know, that,
Yes.
Wouldn't you say, Mark, the guy, he signed it, but it wasn't notarized, and he kind of welched on it. Wouldn't you say, Mark?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
think
I
it-
can't believe we're talking about me
What,
welching
what
this
was
bet.
it? Was the signature
I did
David
not welch
Beatrice?
the bet.
You will.
Yeah.
Here's an
Really.
idea. You want your
Yeah.
50? You want your 50? You get it from Frank. You get it for Daniel. Right now, they're being held hostage by Brian. When Brian releases the hostages, you can get your $50.
I will beat all of you. Well, he tied 3 of you and beat 2 of you. So
No,
that
no,
doesn't mean
no.
he beat-
I tied 2 of them, and I
Okay, well,
beat
that's
2
the
of them.
same. Well,
Did you ever say
said you
tied or
beat 'em all.
push in your statement? No, beat.
Wait.
Yeah. He welched.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
straight. He's Frankie Pantangeli from
Frankie
The Godfather.
Pantangelis.
He welched.
Right. Right.
I'm
I
glad-
welched.
I did not welch.
Over $50.
I'm not
Yeah.
paying Frank
A
and
guy would.
Daniel
A guy would
$50
blow his-
for their. I'll pay you 2, but I'm not paying.
All right,
those
now
Yeah.
everybody in Radio Line, thank you. We got it.
Yep.
2. Hey,
All right, because really, I mean,
but Frankie,
I-
Frankie thinks he gets $50 too.
All right.
Well,
Well,
he's
if you
entitled
pay
to
me,
it.
I got you. He gets who gots. That's right.
all right. You're on the air with the attorneys. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, your question, please.
It's not a question. It's more of a comment associated with all those flags in the front yard.
Yes, sir.
I'm one of those guys who actually put all those flags in your front yard.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know a couple things. There is, if you see flags showing up in your front yard, there's a simple number 811 that gets you to the dig authority. They'll tell you who's asking for the flags to be marked.
Well, thank you.
Just because
Thank
there's
you, yeah.
flags doesn't mean they're going to be digging in your yard.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
There is a 100-foot buffer around the dig zone that we're required to mark. So, a lot
So
of times
you're
you'll see
a guy
flags
that goes
for
out.
actual no work being done in your yard.
Yeah, you're a guy that goes out.
Awesome.
So the water company or the electric company says, "Hey, we're going to dig here. Mark where the lines are." You're the guy that finds the lines and sticks the flag in.
In a 100-foot
Yes,
buffer,
I am.
he said.
Do
so
the
it's
do the colored flags mean anything? The different colors?
Yes, they do. All the different colors mean whether it's gas, electric,
Okay.
water, sewer. All the different colors mean something different.
Well, thank you.
I have a
See
feeling
that?
this guy's been yelled at by a lot of homeowners.
Yeah,
I have
have,
a feeling.
have you been yelled at by a lot of homeowners?
There's probably some funny ring camera interactions.
I would
All
never
right.
yell at it. The guy's doing his job.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Right.
care.
Well,
saving
yeah,
your utilities. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
All right, Welcher, what are you talking about tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning on WFMJ. Today, I'm going to be talking about it's snow season, it's ice season. What happens if you get in an accident? What happens if you slip? Your car slides on ice and you hit someone. Can you still be held responsible? What you should do if you're in an accident. Tomorrow morning, 6:40 on WFMJ.
Hey,
Today.
Merry Christmas to all of you
And
guys.
Merry
Thank
Christmas
Merry
you.
to
Christmas.
everybody.
God
Christmas,
bless you.
Ron.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.